All right, you guys, podcast time. We got the equipment and the perfect business plan. Give our show away for free and tell no one how to find it. Ready?
Welcome back to another episode of the Brand X Podcast. I am your host, John. With me, I have Deuce.
Come stop, bitches.
And Joe. No Joe.
No, Sans Joe.
Sans Joe. It's just me and you. Like old times.
Yeah. Joe started his new job today.
So he couldn't come over.
Yeah, look at him being all responsible and like giving a shit. Like you can tell he's not a millennial.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just that old school. Oh, let me put my best foot forward. Congratulations to Joe.
Yeah, it's nice to make money.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't out of work long, so.
Mm-hmm.
That's always the thing. Have you ever been out of work for an extended period of time? Not as long as I've known you. You never.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not as long as I've known you.
Well.
I mean, not your current situation with
Well, I'm talking about with when I was working in the elevator business and they decided the evil empire Otis took over our company and they came in and it was like, you're gone. After 25 years, here you go. Here's your blue packet. And I left there and then I was out of work for 6 months, 6 months. And then I found another job with an elevator company. And then that was and see, the problem was, like I said, I had hurt my knee and everything. So I was in management. I couldn't be out in the field anymore. And I'll tell you, when you're at a corporate, like in a corporation and you're working for a company like that, it's just one cocksucking backstabber after another that's out there to get you. And if you don't have, I'm not that way. I was more of I came up as a union guy, and union guys help each other. We might talk shit about you.
Ball breaking?
Yeah, it might ball break, or we might not even like you. I might not even like a guy, okay? But he's my union brother, and if he's in trouble and he needs a hand, I'm going to go help him out.
How long were you in corporate? Not long, were you?
No, 5 years.
Really? That long?
From 2007 to...
But I mean, when you went to the new company, where you were there, like...
Oh, I was 6 months.
Yeah, no one knew you. That's what it was.
Yeah, and then I guess that scumbag backstabbing prick that hired me wanted his job back. I took his job. He moved up. Yeah. He didn't like moving up, so he wanted to go back. Well, it's like when you're playing run the bases, and two guys are on the base.
Yeah.
One guy gets tagged out. I got tagged out.
You were the lucky contestant.
But it's funny when something like that happens. It seems like for me, there's always a reason. Like there's a step. Like I said, if you're walking across a river and there's like you're stepping on rocks or something, there's always like a rock will just like kind of drop in there. And to be honest with you, don't get me wrong, had a ton of. I really enjoyed working in the elevator business. Met a lot of really great guys over there. But my time had come. I just kind of. There was just nothing for me. It was just sucking.
Your heart wasn't in it.
It was sucking the life out of me.
Yeah.
I just had to go in. When you're a corporate guy and you're a management guy and you're a superintendent or something like that, you got to go in and be a jerk off. And I couldn't, it's not in me.
It's not a popularity contest when you're in management.
Right.
You got to get the job done.
You got to get the job done and you got to be.
Well, then you also run into that aspect of it because if you do move into management, like if you come up out of a pool of guys that you work with, now you're their manager.
Exactly.
And now you have one of two things. One, you're going to have guys that are going to take advantage of you because, we're tight because we came up together, so I can kind of slack off. And that puts you in an awkward situation. Or you, as you said, you have to be the boss, and they start saying, oh, he forgot where he came from. He changed.
Yeah. To be honest with you, the guys I work with are really good guys. I mean, the company that I came from, it was basically what they called an independent company. And then when they were bought by the corporate, backstabbing, evil empire of Otis Elevator, scumbags. I hate the color green just because of Otis Elevator, to be quite honest with you. Although I'm wearing Otis green right now. I just noticed that. But I worked with a bunch of good guys. And what I found out was I ended up protecting them. And then what happened, that would get me in trouble with my managers. Because they're like, oh, you're protecting your union buddies. And I'm like, I'm not protecting them. I'm just being fair. I'm just telling you how it is. You want me to just go in and slay somebody because something has to be slain, and that's not my style. Here's the thing. This is what I love about corporations and people in management. Something happens. Now, someone has to make a rule. The rule has there's no way that rule is going to affect or stop or help the situation that they just made the rule about. But they made a rule, and that's that. And they don't care. They don't care because they made a rule and they did their job. It's going to continue, whatever they were trying to stop. It doesn't do anything. It's easy to work around, but they made a rule. And now I made a bunch of snowballs. Okay, guys, go start throwing them. That's basically what it was. So I don't have to worry about that anymore.
And here you are now.
And here I am now doing a podcast for free.
Right. No pressure.
No pressure at all.
There is no pressure.
One of the things like this week is I'm actually a little bit better than I was last week. I'm walking now.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
In the loose interpretive sense.
Yeah, I still have you saw me getting out of the truck today and I came downstairs. So, it wasn't as bad. Last week when you guys were here, it took me.
Yeah, you might as well just had a hospital bed there behind it.
It took me 20 minutes to get up those steps.
Really? That long?
Yeah, that's why I said I'm not leaving. I'm not getting out of this chair until you guys are gone because I don't want anybody seeing this nonsense. Yeah, it was tough. So, feeling a little bit better. I'm off the pain medication. I mean, don't get me wrong. It still hurts every once in a while, but that part.
But you're more lucid.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And then what else is going on? It's funny. Normally, we don't actually get into news that's like happening right at the moment. But did you see what happened on the plane, the United plane?
Yeah, I heard about it about 11 o'clock today. And I was out running errands and I had to, now I have to go check this out. So I pulled over and just to see, I thought the guy was screaming a little hysterically, but that guy was a doctor.
Right.
That's what the whole story was.
He didn't scream like a doctor. He screamed like a little girl.
Like a little bitch. That's not too far off the mark of how he sounded.
So what happened, if you haven't heard, I'm sure you've definitely heard by now, there was a guy, Asian it looks like, right? He looked like an Asian guy?
Well, he was all kind of disheveled and everything from them pulling him out of the seat. His glasses were all askew.
That's true. His eyes were squinty.
His shirt was like riding up around his chest from them dragging him out.
Yeah, it wasn't a good look.
Looked a little too tall to be an Asian guy, but
so he was on the plane and they had overbooked the plane and they offered everybody $400 and a free night in a hotel if you take a ticket and fly tomorrow. So the guy's like, no one took it. Nobody on the plane took it.
Yeah, from what I heard, there was 4
they had to
airplane or airline employees that had to get there
to get to wherever they were going.
So then when no one stepped up and said, yeah, I'll go, then they just started like,
well, wait a minute. So they did 400. Right. Nobody took the deal. They bumped it to 800. $800 cash, another ticket tomorrow and a hotel stay. Nobody took it. So now they're like, okay, we're picking 4. So they randomly picked 4th. This guy was the 4th guy.
Right.
And he didn't want to go. He was a doctor. He had to see patients and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can't believe the guy couldn't bribe somebody or do something else. Or I don't know. But anyhow, they called the police, Chicago police, and they just grabbed this guy and yanked him out. He gave him the Flanders scream. And he just went and did the puppet. And
they frog dragged him right off that plane.
Yeah, they just dragged him all the way back and drug him off the plane. And everybody, what do you see? When the video,
1 million smartphones like going down the aisle. Just
you see everybody's video. You see it from every angle.
Yeah.
So everybody in there and they were all screaming. So they took him off the plane. And the next thing you know, the guy came back and he ended up flying.
Yeah. And he's going to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, Jed's a millionaire. That's what's going to wind up happening to him with all that photographic evidence.
Oh my God! There's not one person in this whole country that's not going to give that guy a pile of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes that's the equivalent of hitting.
Who was
the
that?
lottery.
United, I think.
United.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what. If I was the CEO of United, although they're looking every time they open, it's like the Trump administration. Every time they open their mouth, they get a black eye. The guy's like, "Well, we're sorry, but this is what we got to do," and they have to be there, and it sucks to be him.
Yeah, it's a no-win situation, but it's the invisible hand of the free market at work because now all the competitors are going to say, we don't forcibly eject you off our plane. And
well, they do.
They will take a black eye in the short run, but in the long run, it's going to probably improve their business.
Well, every airline does that. Oh, I heard it. It's time. It's time for the segment. What's Deuce drinking?
Well, if you want to do it now, if you want to finish your story.
Well, I mean, you cracked it open, so you know me. I'm like ooh.
Well, this is
something shiny.
This, yes, ooh, glittery. This is a new one I'm trying from the Flying Dog Brewery, and with a name like this, you can't go wrong. It's Raging Bitch. So
Raging Bitch.
Raging Bitch. It sounds. It's a Belgian IPA, and I already used the Raging Bitch joke on Diane. She was not appreciative.
What was the Raging Bitch joke on Diane? What was
I said, I saw a beer today in the store. It reminded me of you.
And then you pulled out the bottle.
Well, she thought it was like Dilly Dally. I was like, well, no, that would be a good beer to name after you, because. But this is called Raging Bitch. It almost sounds like a 3 Is comedy sponsor.
Yeah,
you know,
Raging Bitch beer.
Now, I don't know if you want to walk up to the bar and ask for a Raging Bitch because you don't know what you'll get, but it's it's pretty good.
Especially if you're in a strip club. Can I have a Raging Bitch? Oh,
the artwork is pretty disturbing, almost like a Salvador Dali.
Yeah,
kind of a.
There you go.
A very contorted female dog being the bitch.
If you're watching on Facebook, Joe. I'll do this 100 times now. Yeah. Deuce just showed the bottle to the camera. All right, so let's talk about Facebook.
Okay.
And podcasting.
Okay.
So I've said before that, our core audience really doesn't listen to podcasts because they just don't understand. What's a podcast? I don't understand. It comes on my phone. How do I get it? It's easier to get a podcast on a Apple iPhone than on the Android. Right. What we did was we started doing Facebook Live, and we get almost double the views on Facebook Live than we get downloads.
And that's just on the Brand X page.
That's just on the Brand X.
Because Joe was sharing it.
Okay.
And I was sharing it.
And I shared it.
And right. So if you combined all the views in all 4 places, that's a shitload of views.
Yeah.
Yeah. Math.
So let me just talk to you here for just a second, listener.
Uh-oh. Listener.
Just let me put my arm around you and kind of tell you what's going on here. And maybe I can just describe a podcast to you, and hopefully, maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to download this thing and enjoy it the way it's supposed to be. Like Deuce is over there enjoying that Raging Bitch beer. He's got a nice head on it. Looks good. Nice ice cold. Look at that. Perfect. Looks like it should be in a beer commercial. Look, he said, look. And if you're watching on Facebook right now, you can see Deuce was doing the
Vanna White Wheel of Fortune sales pitch.
Yeah, there you go. So
Vanna White would do it better. You don't want to see me doing that.
That's true. Anyhow, getting back to the podcast thing. So what happens is you can download these things, or if you go on your computer and you go to brandx.libsyn.com, it'll take you to a spot where you can listen to it right there, and then we get credit for a download. All right. But the nice thing about podcasts for me is I download them to my phone, and then I can take them anywhere. I can listen to them in a car. I can listen to them wherever I'm at. If you're out mowing the lawn, you put on some earbuds, you go out, you mow the lawn, you can listen to a podcast. I mean, you can do the same thing with a radio and everything, but like I said, you got the commercials.
You can pause the podcast.
Exactly.
And get back to it when you can.
Or if you miss something, you can always go back and forward. So it's, you should check it out. It's kind of like on-demand TV, but it's audio, basically, is what it is. You download it, you watch it. It's like if you're, you have the cable boxes now that they have the DVRs in them, and you pick your show and it records it. Well, that's basically what this is. So you do that. You go, you take your phone. If you have an iPhone, you have a little blue or purple podcast icon on there. You hit that. You hit the little arrow glass for search. You type in Brand X Podcast. It comes up.
If you can work Google, you can work that app.
That's right. And then you hit subscribe. And then as soon as I get done publishing it, which could be usually like 11, 12 at night, 1 o'clock in the morning sometimes, 1:30, it'll come right to your phone. And then you can enjoy it on the phone, in your car or wherever you want to go, out fishing.
And the Facebook is fun, but when you hear the actual podcast after John that's the raw feed.
Yes.
Okay. After John gets a hold of it and he edits it and he bumps it up, it sounds a whole lot better than what you hear on Facebook.
And Rocky Starr from the Tavern Podcast, he's on Facebook right now, and he says, it's so easy, a drunk red can do it. So,
hey, Rocky, what's up?
And it's the truth. It's not, once you get in there and get it done, listen, the Jimmy.
Even the Jimmy.
It's the Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? It's the Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy, what do you do? What
if the Jimmy can do it.
If the Jimmy can do it, anybody can do it. I mean, I have to load the podcasts on the phone for him, but once I get them on there for him.
Well, that's because his fingers are so monstrous. He hits like 3 apps at the same time. It's like,
it's like a telephone pole.
Yeah. The phone's at war. Which one?
So anyhow, we would like it if you would come over and just download this, and that would help us out. So to do that, what we're going to do right now is we're going to have a little bit of Facebook Live, and then if you want the rest of the podcast, come on over, download it.
Come on down.
And listen to the rest of the podcast. All right, we're also running live on Mixler right now, so that'll be, you guys can come over and listen if you want to listen live. See, I'm torn because I like the Facebook Live. I would do the whole show, but I'm going to peel back the curtain now. What happens is the other guys, Deuce, Joe, they realize the camera's on, and they realize it. I forget the camera's on, and we just grab ass and say stuff, and if we make a mistake.
So John has a mouse in his pocket. What's this we shit?
What do you mean we? If I make a mistake, if you make a mistake or something?
I'm conscious that the camera's on.
I'm not conscious of it.
I dummy up.
Yeah, you dummy up, and I don't need you to dummy up. I need you loose and fluid. Because what happens is, like, after we shut the podcast down, you guys sit here, we still talk for about a half an hour, and that's some of the funniest stuff. And I guess that's because the camera's off and you're not worried about this. There's also times where I mention a name, and you're like, you can't take that out. Or will mention a name or mention your own name because we can't use your name.
Right.
And
Secret agent.
You're a secret agent. And then we have to take your name out. So, but if we do that on Facebook Live, it's there. I can't go back and cut it out. So we are going to do a little bit. We're going to leave Facebook on for a little while. What do you want to do? Just do one story and then we'll go after that. We'll cut it off.
I'd say 20 minutes of Facebook, 20, 25.
Well, we're
usually good for a rampaging hour and a half. So
yes, that's true. We're somewhere around 19 and a half minutes right now.
Yeah, give it another 20 minutes.
Give it another 20 minutes. Okay. All right. So we appreciate you watching on Facebook Live. We love that. We really do. But we would really love it if you would come over and subscribe to the podcast on podcasting app. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. If you go over to the Brand X Facebook page, I will make I will make a post of all the podcasts.
Say that one more time.
I will make a post of all the apps that you can use, free ones, for your phone, and you can download them. You can check them out, and this way you can use it on your phone and every other podcast. And we have a lot of podcasts that we love, and we're a member of the Hush Your Face Network. There's a lot of good podcasts there. And at the end of this podcast, if you guys never made it to the end, we always do shout outs of like our favorite podcasts. So now, if you're listening right now and you want to scoot all the way to the end, if we're done recording, you want to scoot all the way to the end about, 10 or 15 minutes from the end. That's usually when we start our shout outs about the podcast. So there's some really good podcasts that you can listen to. And I find new ones all the time. As a matter of fact, I was even thinking about starting a segment before we do the shout outs of podcasts I found. And then give them a little.
That's a great
so
idea.
It's like, here's a podcast I found. I kind of like it. Or here's a podcast I found.
Put a little spotlight on them.
Yeah, no, you know what? I'm just going to do the ones I like because there's no sense in doing the ones I don't like. I wouldn't recommend them anyhow. But if I find a podcast that I think, if you like this show.
It's just the way you said that was kind of fucked up. That's like recommending a bad restaurant.
Right.
Hey, try this place. I hated the food. It made me throw up. Try it out.
Yes. Yeah, maybe you'll like it. So I think I'll do a segment right before we do that. I'll find a podcast that I like. And I'll recommend it, and then I might even pull a little section of it or something like that.
Yeah.
A little production.
Yeah, an exposition.
Exactly. All right, what are we doing now? What are we going to talk? You want to go to a story?
Sure, why not?
Which story do you want to do? Oh, we just did the passenger dragon.
I've been waiting for a week for this one. That big pumpkin face bitch. So.
All right. I didn't pull the audio on this.
You didn't?
No, I pulled audio. I didn't pull the story because I'm afraid if we go right to the website,
it'll start rolling.
Yeah, let me hear.
All right, I'll start reading.
I'm going to go there too.
The headline is, looks like the slut shaming angry customer in Santa Monica video is really a webcam girl. And this was all over
you kind of
social media last week.
You spoiled it.
I did?
Yeah, because I was going to do it a little bit differently, but okay.
All right, you want to do it?
No.
I'll let you do it.
Okay. Well, let's put it this way.
You want me to read the story?
Yes.
All right.
But can you surmise it? Like, don't read it like you're reading a paper. Can you?
All right.
Can you summarize the way you do?
Okay. Is showing your lover a little PDA a crime? A woman in Santa Monica, California certainly acted as if it were after she freaked out on a couple for kissing in public. According to Wet Paint, the incident occurred on March 31st at a poke bowl restaurant. Luckily for us, the entire heated exchange was caught on camera. As I had mentioned, this was
Well, what happened was
everywhere.
The boyfriend actually recorded it. And I don't know what was going on, but basically, if I can get into it, I guess they were kind of getting ready to get some food, and they were kind of canoodling. There you go. And
apparently from the story, he kissed her on the top of her head.
Really? That was what this is?
Yeah, I guess he was standing behind her, with the old...
Yeah, hugging her and gave her a kiss on top of the head.
Maybe a couple of pecks here,
And this is what this lady did. This is her response.
We are waiting for you to finish up, so we're chatting.
Go make out outside.
You're a heinous person.
You're a prostitute.
Cool.
I'm not getting paid.
How can you make out while here in front of everyone like a while we're trying to eat? There are people here.
Okay.
Do you have any manners?
Can you just finish up your transaction? We'll order and we can both move on.
Could you pause that a second?
We are...
Yeah.
Just to put it, she said there's people trying to eat here. Now, I don't know what was going on. There was a line of people to get food.
But nobody
was seated at the tables. So I guess it was late at night or whatever. So she's like, no one was eating. And who would be upset at seeing...
Right. I mean, it was really a nothing thing. And where is this lady at? Santa Monica,
California.
Because I'm telling you right now, if this was in Jersey or Philly, there would have been hair pulling and a big giant fist fight, because there's no way that woman would have talked to somebody here in this area and called her a prostitute. She's like, I'm not a prostitute. I'm not getting paid for this.
Right.
Like, if I was a prostitute, I'd have to be getting paid for this. I'm doing this for free. I might be a slut, but I'm definitely not a prostitute.
Free kisses do not a prostitute make.
Exactly. There has to be, some coin exchanged for services rendered.
Right.
This lady, and you would think, since you already spoiled the story, you would think a person in the sex working...
What did I do?
You would think that someone that was in the sex working field? Is that what I'm trying to say here? What am I trying to say? You have no idea.
She's a webcam girl?
She's a webcam girl.
There
so
you
would
go.
Think, I was trying not to really throw it out there, but anyhow.
Well, you already accused me of ruining the damn story, so what the hell?
You basically did. But anyhow, she's
in for a penny, in for a pound.
Right, so she would know what a prostitute is, basically.
We'll play a little bit more of the exchange.
Okay, here we go. Here's a clip.
It's a long video. It's 6 minutes long.
Exactly.
I can't wait to report you to the police. You cannot be doing prostitution
Go ahead.
in public.
Hey, go find the police right now.
This is a public place. This is where people
No, it's not.
eat.
This is a private place, actually.
This is public.
No, this is a private establishment, actually.
We're in the public.
This is privately owned.
Look, if you're making...
Okay, so now this is where the story goes a little awry, because the two people that are in the public place think because it's privately owned, it's a private place.
Well, they're correct. A public place by definition, is funded by taxpayer dollars. So if it was a public library...
Really?
Yeah.
So you don't think that if you're in a restaurant over here owned by the pizza guy...
You are in public, but it is a private establishment.
Well, you are in public. Okay, so now me and you are splitting hairs over this. Okay.
Well, as usual, I'm right, and you're not.
Whatever. Good gracious.
No, but that's the definition, yeah.
Okay, so it's not funded by the taxpayers, but it's a public place. Like, in other words...
You're in public.
You're in public.
The public are invited into a private establishment.
Exactly.
If you owned a business, you wouldn't get very far if you wouldn't let anybody... If you just brought people in by invitation only.
That's true. All right.
out in front of people and you're making people uncomfortable.
Can we go
You're
there?
making me uncomfortable with your verbal
Stop
harassment.
making out in front of us.
That's not good.
Who is us?
So they're trying to de-escalate this, and this lady's not giving up at all.
Nah, not at all.
So now she moves towards the guy. Like, she comes over and, like, moves the lady that's yelling, the cam worker, the cam girl. She comes over towards him. And
we will refer to her as Pumpkin Face.
Pumpkin Face comes over to them, like, gets close to him. And this guy, I got to give this guy credit. I mean, he basically laid down the law.
Lady, you're making out while we're trying to order.
Step back.
Excuse me?
Step the
Why
back.
do not
Step
tell
the
me
back.
Excuse
Step
me?
the back.
Excuse me? Why don't you
Can you
step
call
the
the
back?
Can you call the cops?
Can you call the cops on him?
I'm getting all this on video. So we'll see who's harassing who later.
You're f***ing your girlfriend in a public restaurant acting like a prostitute.
Well, she was wrong. According to Deuce, it's a private restaurant.
Egregiously wrong in that effing his girlfriend. I was like, wow.
Now, if that was in Jersey, the first thing that would have happened was, as soon as he got that close...
Let me help you out here.
Yeah, there's no way when because she got close to him.
Yeah,
and he's like, step back, and she didn't step back. And, I mean, listen, I know you're never supposed to hit a woman. If they're coming to attack you, you have to defend yourself. As far as I'm concerned, you're never going to hit a woman unless they're attacking you.
Or they have a knife or a hatchet.
Okay. But you're in a no-win situation because if you knock her out, then you're a guy that just hit a woman. So you're really in a no-win situation. But as far as I'm concerned, you're there with your girlfriend, and you don't want them getting, in trouble. So you're basically the protector here, the bouncer.
Right.
And so you're basically going to have to, take this girl out. But he didn't. He just said, call the cops. I got to hand it to him. He was, he did his job. I mean, he
stepped up.
He stepped up.
He let it be known he wasn't taking any of her shit.
That's right. So then she kind of went back, and then... let me go to the next clip.
You need to leave. You told me to leave while I'm in my order while you're making out with that
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
You're such an airhead. You're so dumb. You're sexually harassing me. You and that
Well, you are harboring a lot of and you're just letting it all out. So
you know what?
Go ahead. This is cathartic for you.
I don't want to watch you make out with that person while I'm trying to order food.
There's the door right there. Go ahead.
I have to sit there and watch guys yak off to me, when I'm on a cam and they put take that feather duster and stick it up my ass. And I have to do that for like $10 an hour. And I don't want to be out here watching you lovingly kiss your girlfriend. This makes more sense now that you know that she was a cam girl.
It was really, really bizarre when you watch the whole video. But this was all over the place last week. And I was like, I had tabled it and I pulled it and said, well, we're definitely going to be talking about this on the podcast. Much to my delight, the story got better because apparently somebody out in the blogosphere recognized her and they did a search on her. And they haven't 100% confirmed.
Pretty much.
But
that's her.
Basically, they found this person and she is a webcam girl. And they have some screenshots of her from her show, if you want to call that. Right. It says, do you see the resemblance? This is the so-called amateur porn star who looks a lot like the woman in the viral Poke PDA video.
Now, first of all, they have her in like a pink tank top, no bra. And scale 1 to 10, what do you give her? Is she a 5?
You're being generous, man.
I mean...
She looks like 12 pounds of shit stuffed in a 1-pound bag. I mean, this thing's ready to burst open at the seams.
Yeah. So, they got a picture of her, from the webcam and her on Twitter.
And then they have another shot, a face shot of her. I mean, it's definitely, to my eye, it's the same girl. But they also have some circumstantial evidence because on her page, she is a huge San Francisco sports fan. And in the video where she's berating this couple, she's wearing a gigantic San Francisco, I guess, Giants or...
It looks like Giants.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's a Giants hoodie.
Yes.
Okay. It's got the Giants colors on. It says San Francisco emblazoned right across the front. And then think about it. This woman is calling another woman a slut and a prostitute for kissing her boyfriend in a public setting, yet she might be taking her clothes off for creepy dudes on the internet. There's nothing wrong with that, though. She has every right to live the cam girl lifestyle she may very well live. Why? Because slut shaming is for weak-minded losers. So I just find it interesting that this hit and somebody out there recognized her.
Well, the first thing they did, I think, was, again, I guess they did recognize her, and then it was probably some guy that was, tossing off to her.
Hey, it's her.
So he goes,
it's my dream girl.
Right. And then they looked her up on Facebook, and they have her profile, and they got her Twitter name. So there was 334 comments under this story.
And they're always a gem. Comments are always the best.
there is no such thing as a woman slut. It's just a name men and women give to a woman who has many sex partners, and a double standard when used by men who are idolizing for scoring with many women.
But the guy in the video didn't use the term. She did.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
It's just like, so how do you explain that?
And then it says, this is technically doxing. What's doxing? You know what
Spell
doxing?
that.
DOXXING.
No, I'm too old to know that one.
All right, hang on.
And I'm pretty good at English.
Telling you right now, you know what we're going to do right now? We're going to go to the Urban Dictionary.
Urban Slang Dictionary.
And I will put in doxing, and we will find out together. Let's let the old people find out together what doxing is. Doxing by the way of name dropping is a document dropping. It's publicly exposing someone's real name or address on the internet who is taking pains to keep them secret, also spelled doxing. She called herself Connie from Fat City, but someone outed her real identity and location as Karen from Palo Alto, even giving street address and putting it all over the web.
Oh, okay.
So that's what it is. So someone doxed her, like they outed her.
Now, see that? We just learned something.
Yes. See, this podcast is entertaining.
Yeah, see? I learned something.
There we go. So basically, this lady, the pumpkin face, was she was eating alone. She was getting her takeout alone. I guess she didn't have a boyfriend.
Looked like it was a seafood place of some kind of sushi or something.
Really? I thought it was kind of like a salad place.
I don't know. Well, there's a big fish, a big neon fish on the wall. So I'm just using my powers of supposition on that one.
There you go. I'll give it to you.
So that's what's going on in Santa Monica. Watch out for pumpkin face. She might call you a slut and a whore and a prostitute.
Yeah, she's got nice cans though. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Okay. If you've ever seen the front bumper of a '57 Chevy Bel Air, okay, the Dagmars, that's what she's got going on there.
Okay.
And if you like 72,000 freckles per square inch,
yeah, you could play Connect the Dot on her all night long.
She's like Ginger City.
Right. Jeez.
Yeah, jeez.
And listen, I'll tell you right now, we're nothing special, just so you know.
Well, I can say these things because, as you know, I look like Brad Pitt.
Hush Your Face is coming straight to your ears. A podcast network that's changing gears with the Brand X Pod and Nerd Wells. The Horribly Awkward Pod, Horribly Gamers as well. The Tavern Pod, Glee's Comedy. A 6-pod network family. www.hushyourface. www.hushyourface. www.hushyourface.com.
Now, I know what you're going to say when I bring this story up.
Much like Lassie.
This story. I mean, I was thinking about not doing this story, to be quite honest with you, for the simple fact that, you guys bust my balls about this, but I'm telling you, it's becoming a thing. Chinese engineer marries robot after failing to find human wife. See?
Sausage time!
That's what I'm talking about.
I don't get. Well, that's China, so it's like they're still a third world country.
Wife can identify Chinese characters and speak a few words, but hubby plans upgrades. A Chinese engineer has married a robot he created after failing to find a human spouse.
Let me stop you right there. They say that he married. Now, is that just a term that they're using, or is it an illegally binding? I don't think you can marry an inanimate object in any country.
What do I look like, a lawyer? I have no idea.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Does it like enumerate that in the story?
It says he has married a robot he created by failing to find a human spouse. Zing Jahaha, 31, an artificial intelligence expert.
It's probably high.
Whatever.
Hey, come on, give the Chinese a break.
This guy. He's an artificial intelligence expert who designs and creates robots in China. He created a female robot, and at the end of last year, he named it Yingying, Yingying, Yingying.
Yeah, Yingying.
Yingying can identify Chinese characters and images and even say a few simple words. See, that's all you need, And here's what I'm saying is, to be honest with you, ladies, your days are numbered, to be quite honest with you, because once this is down, we don't need you anymore, okay? Once these things know how to make sandwiches and clean themselves,
Yeah, I noticed you put the clean themselves in.
That's right.
So they can't do that.
Once they learn how to do that, and you know what? We don't need you because you know what? Ying Ying over here, she's ready at any time.
Point of the closure here. Deuce still thinks it's creepy.
I understand it's creepy, but it's coming.
I don't think it's coming.
Because, listen.
You're hoping against hope that this comes just so that you can say, I'm right.
To be quite honest with you, these dolls are past my time. You know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I might say, but like now, What I'm saying to like guys, you know, basically, if our needs are met by these dolls, these robots, our needs. That's right. Make us dinner, clean our house, clean our clothes, clean the pipes.
So you want a hot-looking C-3PO?
Yes. Yes. I want a C-3PO.
Make sure he speaks Spachi.
I want a C-3PO that looks like Lonnie Anderson.
Lonnie Anderson now?
No.
Or 1970s Lonnie Anderson?
1970s Lonnie Anderson. I want this 1970s Lonnie Anderson.
Not Jan Smithers?
No, I want her. I want this 1970s doll, robot doll, Lonnie Anderson, to stick her tongue up my ass. There you go.
Wow.
That's right. And I wouldn't even swat her away. And then what are you ladies going to do? Because we won't need you anymore. We'll be out hunting and fishing and golfing. We won't have anybody break our balls. And then who are you going to like annoy and dominate and bitch at and refuse sex to? What are you going to do? Do you think one of you ladies is actually going to go out and make a robot that will do all the things that we do? No, you won't.
They think they'll just find a poor guy to do that for them?
No, they won't. No, they won't. Because guess what? These things will do it better. Because
Wait a minute. We just read a story of the Kenyan couple. There's a married woman.
Yeah.
She went out and found the dude.
I don't understand your question.
In other words, let's say, okay, you go and you get yourself a sex bot or a wife, a robot wife.
Yeah, you can go out. You go to the store. You know how you go out and buy a Corvette? You go to I'm going to go get a new girl. You go over. You pick it out. How tall? How big's the breasts? What do you want it to do? Get it all programmed up. Put it in the car, take it home. You don't
see anything dehumanizing in that to yourself, or you just don't care?
At this point, I don't care.
Okay.
I just want someone to do what I tell them to do. Okay,
Just
and not
get
give
a
me
dog,
a bunch.
then.
And don't give me a bunch. A dog.
Dog will do what you tell it to do.
I don't want to fuck a dog.
Well, I didn't say you had to fuck the dog. Just get a prostitute.
Again,
I'm playing devil's advocate.
I know.
Here.
I hate when you play devil's advocate because it's not.
Because I think sometimes you don't think these things through.
I'm laser focused on this one. I'm telling you that right now. I'm telling you right now, if they got these things where they could be like, you could program this thing to do things like.
So you don't care what people would say about you?
In the beginning, at first, you'd get like guess what John's doing. And then after a while, John would be all happy. John would be going, hey, I'm going there this weekend.
John would have no integrity.
Wait a minute. Where are you going, John? I'm going to go out and going to go do some hunting. What are you doing? Oh, the wife has me cleaning the gutters. Oh, yeah, okay. I'll talk to you later then the next weekend. What are you doing, John? I'm going to go down. I'm going to do some fishing. What are you doing? I got to mow the lawn this weekend.
So the robot's mowing the lawn and cleaning the gutters? Aha!
What I'm saying
You didn't think this through, did you?
The woman, hey, maybe the robot does clean the gutters and mow the lawn. Why can't she?
See, you keep moving the goalposts on these things.
I'm telling you right now, the limitations are endless.
I just like how you laid up like a kid on Christmas morning.
I'm just telling
whenever
you.
The sex fire.
I see a need that's not being met, and these things are meeting it.
Yeah.
All right?
It's not for me.
Of course, you've been married for so-and-so. You're very...
Well, even if I wasn't married, I just don't... I don't get it.
Let me tell you something.
I just look at the crucified, surprised, inflatable robot.
I'll tell you right now. I know what you're saying, okay? I know what you're saying. You're putting up a really good front.
Oh,
but
yeah.
If you weren't
it's all
married,
a facade.
That's right. If you weren't married and everything...
Not with a robot, I wouldn't be.
This thing would be riding you down a dirt road like a Harley.
No, it would not.
Bullshit.
No. If it was like the Terminator and I had no will to fight against it, yeah, but I'm not going to like Yeah, that's exactly right. Who's signing up for this?
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, like, look at this guy. Look at this engineer.
He's not all that unattractive compared to like some of the other losers we've seen.
Are you kidding me? Look at this guy.
What?
Look, do you see him?
He looks like an average, everyday, normal Chinese guy.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what he looks like? He looks like the guy that delivered the Chinese food to Elaine in Seinfeld.
Hop Sing.
He looks like Hop Sing.
Yeah, well, Hop Sing was a little angrier looking than.
Well, that's because he doesn't have a robot.
Yeah.
If he had a robot to go home to,
Well, I think
he
it's
wouldn't
because,
be so angry.
Well, I think the writers just wrote that part for him just to be the.
Are you kidding me?
No, I don't know. I know you're strangely drawn to these stories.
Again, listen. I am saying this tongue in cheek.
I mean, you got to see some of these pictures, listeners. Like the dude's like carrying her
It's like
across the threshold, but it's outside, and she's sitting there.
Right, she's got a scarf on.
Yeah, it's just.
I understand. Listen, it's in the beginning. It's a Model T. You know, in the beginning, the Model T, you had to go over there and crank it and all. It was not a big deal. I mean, it got you around and all. But now it's like.
I think that's what these things are. You got to get like the hand cranked out.
I'm just saying.
It's like a big giant key.
What I'm saying is that right now, this is compared to
it's in its infancy. I understand.
Exactly.
But I don't want to have anything to do with anything
listen,
fake.
Me and you will be worm meat by the time this thing comes around. But I'm just telling you, ladies, you better watch out. Because you're about to be ready to be replaced.
Well, I will be the last one to die, just so that when I can like go to your graves, aha, I was right.
Well, you're going to be the last one to die out of the two of us,
and you can't rebut. No, you never know. I could drive home and I get hit by a bus.
That's true. That's about the only way I'm going to outlive you.
You never know. You never know.
So let me ask you this question.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's not really changing the subject, but okay. I mean, because I'm thinking they're getting close with this. What if they could take your consciousness and put it in a robot?
What about
your brain? They could take your brain, your consciousness.
I'm not interested in that either.
And upload it into a robot where you would live forever.
No, I'm not.
And you wouldn't have any pain or anything like that. You couldn't.
No.
Now you just want to die.
Yeah, that's what makes your life meaningful.
Dying
is knowing that you have a finite amount of time. That's what makes us human. That's what drives you to create. I'm going to wax poetic on that, but that's the way I see it.
So like right now,
you have a time and a place.
Listen, I'm telling you right now,
you would want to live forever that way.
I'm just going to say this: the past 20 years went by like this. They went by so fast for me; it was ridiculous. Okay, and I see people like my uncles and stuff like that are, look, we just lost Don Rickles. Okay, and I remember Don Rickles in the 70s, early 80s and all. He was spry and all, and like now, at the very end, I mean, he was. They tried to make it sound like he was still like not
performing.
But he wasn't. I mean, he basically came out and like and his suit was trying to swallow him while he was sitting in a chair. I don't want to go out. I mean, if they could load my consciousness right now into something like that, I would do it tomorrow.
Nah, I wouldn't. I would go.
Well, here's the difference between you and me. Like all my parts right now are breaking down. My knee, my back, the back of my knee. All this stuff on me is breaking down. So I would love it to be able to just get in there and motor around. I would.
Nah, I'm not interested in that.
I would do it and live another 500 years.
Because it makes you of your.
Then are you still human? Did you ever die? Because you could say that once they took that once they took your consciousness out, and I don't know what would happen to your body, you could say you died then, but you're living on. It would be.
Well, it would open up a whole lot of other stupid arguments.
Oh, my goodness. Could you imagine all the religious people?
Well, no, I wasn't going there. I was thinking the legal ramifications because a human has
rights.
Right. A human has rights, has legal rights, has
you would
internationally recognized. Now you have to bestow these rights onto a toaster that has your conscience. So I mean, it's just like,
come on, it would be at least a blender.
Yeah, something that could dice, chop, and puree, not just toast bread.
That's right.
I mean, I really no interest in living forever. Because you will outlive a lot of people.
Well,
I mean, because I miss all my relatives that have passed on before me.
Yeah, but no one has to pass on again.
Yeah, but then if you're let's say I'm not to get it. I don't want to get into a religious theological discussion here, but let's say that there is a heaven, and your father's in heaven.
Right.
All right. If your conscience lives on forever, you'll never see your father again.
You're right. So basically, it boils down to this. If you believe in God and really believe in God and you believe you're going to heaven, you won't do this. But if you're like, I don't know. I don't want to go find there's nothing on the other side.
What would it serve?
What?
For a person like you and me to live forever? It's not like
I don't understand the question.
It's not like you're Winston Churchill and I'm Ronald Reagan. It's just
we're not significant. We're as significant as the next.
What would it serve?
It would serve
You're going to have a bunch of self-centered. I'm not self-centered like you are.
Oh, trust me.
I'm egotistical, but I'm not that self-centered that I want to live forever.
I don't know.
What would it serve to have a whole bunch of self-centered people running around living forever just because they can?
Maybe after a while you would be like, you know what, I'm done with this, and maybe, okay, just turn me off and take my consciousness out of here and let me go.
And where's the dignity in that?
Dignity?
And the dignity of life.
You think it's there's dignity in getting older and shitting yourself and going to nursing homes and going through all that bullshit?
It's part of... I used to have a different...
Let me tell you something right now. When you get older as a guy, I'll just give you a perfect example. Did you ever go sit on the toilet and the next thing you know, you do a splashdown and your balls have gotten so big, goddamn long now? As you get older, your penis shrinks, your balls get longer. What is up with that? Why is that fair?
Well, I'm sorry that's your problem, John.
I don't know. I think my last name in Lithuanian means nuts grow. I don't know, but I'm just saying. You never had a splashdown?
No.
Okay.
Sorry to disappoint you.
Every once in a while, you go sit down there, you get a splash. I'm not saying every toilet.
Maybe there's a problem with your toilet.
The water's
Is it right higher under the lid? I mean, what are you talking about?
Just say you sit down, all of a sudden you're like, it's startling. I'm telling you right now, it's very startling when you first sit down. You hear that kerplunk, and then you immediately stand up, and then you're like.
When I was younger, before relatives of mine started to pass away.
Right.
Okay, my grandparents, my mother, my father, and everything. And I used to think that there was, like you said, there's no dignity in that. But my mother, I'm not sure. I think your father just kind of passed away, right?
Oh, he dropped.
It was abruptly, right?
It was a wheeze and a thud.
Right. It was abruptly.
Yeah. That's exactly how he wanted to go.
And I agree with that because I'll tell you, but I saw my mother and father, not to bring the show down on a downer, but my mother and father died slowly and under horrible circumstances.
Yes.
My father had Lou Gehrig's disease. My mother had pancreatic cancer.
Worst way to go.
But the amount of strength that they displayed and courage in the face of that adversity is what makes you human and is what makes you a pillar of strength to who you leave behind. And I'm not saying that I want to go that way.
Right.
If I had my druthers, I would rather go the way your father did.
A wheeze and a thud.
Just go.
He got up in the morning at 4:30 to go to the bathroom, and that was it.
But I would hope that if I do go the way my parents did and how so many other people go, that I could serve as an inspiration in that capacity.
Not me.
Yeah, I know.
I don't. You know what?
You want to live forever in a blender.
Yeah. Not a blender. I got to think of some. What would it be? I don't know what kind of home appliance would I be? I don't know.
Kind of like the techno bully thing that I made up.
Yes, exactly.
I'm walking around in that thing.
There you go. We already got the cover on.
Big happy face.
John lives forever.
No. I just that's why I disagree with you there. I have no desire to go on and on and on. I really don't. Okay, let's say you decide to do that.
Yes.
You're all happy, skippy,
Right.
Now, what happens if you have 5 kids?
And
let's say that 3 of the 5 don't want to do that. Now you're plodding along without.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna grieve. No
well,
one wants to lose.
So what's the difference? Because you're going to go plug yourself into some kind of appliance. Well, I'm going to check out. I won't be there to do a podcast with you.
Well, I'll find somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. You'll find another appliance.
That's right.
It'll be the blender and toaster show. I don't know what to tell you.
The blender and toaster.
Because, I think this is it. I mean, you got to live in the now and make the most of what you got while you're here.
Hey, Welcome to the refrigerator and garbage disposal show.
Doesn't roll off the tongue like blender and toaster.
No, it doesn't.
You got to stay to 2-syllable: washer and dry, or blender and toaster.
Oh my goodness!
That's just the way I see it. I don't have that desire.
I don't know. It's just I mean, to be honest with you, not maybe in our lifetime. Who knows? With what the hell's going on?
Never say never.
What's going on over in the Middle East? We could all be toast. We could all be dust in a week.
Yeah, I'm glad that the good old days are back. Murder suspect jumps to his death inside the courthouse.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Now, this actually is the guy did everybody a favor, to be quite honest with you.
Triple murder. Jesus Christ.
What do you hear? Jumped to his death from the 4th floor of an Ohio courthouse on Monday in what police call an apparent suicide. Well, maybe he thought he could fly.
I love the name.
That. Robert Seaman.
Yeah. Now,
was accused of molesting a 10-year-old girl and then killing her and her grandparents in an arson fire.
Talk about like a self-fulfilling prophecy of a last name. Your last name is Seaman, and you're accused of molesting.
Yeah.
People. It's just like, ugh.
His name should have been Airman because he couldn't fly.
Ugh.
So the courthouse incident was recorded on video. Damn, we watched the video. Why can't you put the video up? It was an apparent suicide. Said the two deputies that threw him off the roof. Said the two deputies were walking with the shackled seaman.
Shackled seaman? That was possible.
Down a hallway in front of him and then one behind. And he just went over a railing just like that. It was at least waist high and he fell inside the building's rotunda. And there was no scuffle or anything.
He looks like a child molester.
He does, man. He's got like one big. You know what? Wow. He looks like he's the father of the pumpkin face.
Yeah.
He really does.
He almost, except for that bad mustache, semi-goatee, it's almost like Uncle Fester.
Yeah, he's
like a real twisted Uncle Fester.
I'll tell you what, I bet you he hit like a pound. I bet you he hit like a sack of wet cement when he hit.
Man.
Woof.
That had to sound like spaghetti coming out of a pot.
But just think about this. This guy's shackled, right? They got a deputy in front of him, a deputy behind him, and all of a sudden this guy just happens to fall over a railing.
I don't think he probably bolted for it.
Look at him. He doesn't look like he bolts for anything.
Well,
I
mean, if they looked at the video, I'm sure the FBI was probably brought in on this.
I hope these two deputies just like tossed him over the side.
Well, you can hope for that, but I think it's probably legit because from what I understand, like Krusty the Clown and Homer said, I hope all the terrible things. People that molest children in prison don't fare well.
Oh, that's true.
And he probably just figured, you know what?
I'm not going.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
I'm not going to be.
Which is what he deserved, and a lot worse.
Exactly.
When you go, I mean, that's a horrible. Any crime against a child is just like.
Right, I 100% agree. And this guy figures, he's going to get like 30 years of.
It ain't going to be that gentle. I'm pretty sure. It's going to be a pretty intense experience. But he did do the taxpayers a hell of a favor.
And 3 people on the ground held up cards. He got a 4.5, 4.8, and a 5.0 because he stuck the landing.
It's like the Monkey Girls. Love the Monkey Girls. Monkey Girls should be coming on soon.
We call the women's gymnastic team the Monkey Girls.
Right.
Because they do all the stuff like monkeys do. They swing on rings. They're
on that big mat.
Vault. They do the floor exercises. Like a bunch of monkeys.
Is that what it's called, the floor exercise?
That's what they call it.
Yeah, that big giant mat?
Yeah, where they run and they...
What do you think a mat like that costs? Not that I'm in the market to buy one, but that's a monster. What's that thing like? Well, that's a big mat. That's like 50 yards by 50 yards or something.
No,
I don't know it's that big, but I'm exaggerating. It's probably a couple of 100 feet by a couple of 100 feet.
It's at least 100 feet, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much. But, not only that, but it's got to have some kind of spring to it. It's not concrete. It's got to have, it's like a...
It's probably like a wrestling mat.
Yeah,
it's probably
exactly.
like 4 or 5 inches thick,
like a boxing ring, something like that, where it's got some spring to it. Because if not, they would be snapping ankles and knees.
Yeah, I know the Monkey Girls are always seem to be on in the spring and the summer.
When is it, 16 or 18?
Well, the Olympics are every 4 years, but every year there's matches. There's Monkey Girl matches.
That's true.
So the Monkey Girls will probably be on soon.
That's true. I'm not going to lie. There's a couple things that if I'm going through the channels and I see, I will stop and watch.
I'll stop at the Monkey Girls.
I will stop at the Monkey Girls.
In fact, I was torn one time because I was channel surfing, and it was between Joel's and the Monkey Girls, and I wavered, and I went with the Monkey Girls.
There you go.
And Joel's almost always wins. Like,
I'm a big fan of women's softball.
Really?
I tell you,
I never watched women's softball. Oh, I've watched it, but it doesn't rivet me like Monkey Girls.
I don't know what it is. Women's softball. They, I'll watch women's softball.
Now, if you told me it was the women's beach volleyball team,
that I'll watch too.
That's very visually arresting.
Yes. Yes.
Like, will she or won't she fall out of that bikini?
I'll tell you what, they got it strapped on.
Yeah, they must use glue.
And they're all tall, and there's not much of a bikini at all.
No. In the loose interpretive sense, it's a two-piece.
They might as well just spray paint on them. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen that? And then we're going to go off on a little bit of a tangent.
Spray paint.
Yeah.
Oh, the painted costumes? Yes, I've seen a girl actually in person doing that.
Right, and you don't notice it first.
No, in Vegas I saw that.
All right, so
at a trade show I worked.
Can I tell a tangent story?
Sure, I'll let you.
So when I was working in Wilmington, we used to always go to lunch at this one place. It was like a bar restaurant, and the girl behind the bar, I'm telling you what, dude, this was, I can't remember whenever it was, but she was very attractive, really attractive.
Was she island hot or was she?
She was a Philadelphia 8 and like a Vegas 6.
Okay.
All right. She just, I don't know. She just was very nice and very hot. And I was a little smitten, to be quite honest with you. So
she was 9 feet tall. She had long hair.
No, she wasn't. She was about 5'5". She was kind of short. She had short hair.
Short for you. Yeah. Wow. Short hair.
Short hair. Yeah. I do like a short hair girl, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
So her.
Like that Maury Povich thing. You say you like short hair girls, but your track record on dating is
true.
Proves that is a lie.
That is true. That's absolutely true. Mm-hmm. I do like short hair girls, but most of the girls that I've ever dated had long hair. I don't know why that is. Could never talk a short hair girl into dating me. I don't know.
I think
there's not that many short hair girls out there.
I think what I notice, the girls that can pull off the short hair have high cheekbones.
Okay.
Girls that do not have high cheekbones generally can't pull that look off.
Gotcha.
In my opinion.
So let me get back to this. So anyhow, she was going down to Key West with her live-in boyfriend. All right. So then she comes back and she says to me, "Hey, you want to see my pictures from Florida?" I'm like, "Okay." So she shows me and I'm looking at the pictures and they're walking around and she's got beer and she's walking around. She's got a Philly shirt on. And I'm looking at the Philly shirt. I go, "Man, what kind of material is that?" And I look and I'm like, "Oh my God, she's painted."
It was airbrushed on.
It was airbrushed on. Mm-hmm. And I was like, so I'm sitting there looking, and she's waiting for me to see. And then all of a sudden, like my eyes, I went, oh, hey now. And she was just walking around topless the whole time.
You little tease.
You little tease. Yeah, so I did like the paint. I did like the painted look, I have to tell you.
Yeah, as I said, we were at one of the tobacco trade shows I worked. And one of the cigar companies had a bevy of beauties with a Lamborghini. I got pictures, actually, not of them painted because they wouldn't allow that. But they were first like in the Victoria's Secret thing with the angel wings.
Right.
And they were posing in front of a Lamborghini, bright orange, nectarine kind of color.
Okay.
Smoking holding cigars.
I was going to say they were smoking cigars.
Yeah, well, they were holding cigars. And then they bought them off and everyone was like dismayed, like, "Oh, that's all with the girls." And then they brought the girls back and they were all painted up, but they were not allowing. I mean, I'm sure some people were able to sneak some shots.
They couldn't do that now with the phones nowadays. People would be taking.
Well, wasn't there were because I had an Apple iPhone then. That was my company phone.
Oh, okay.
I do have the pictures of them with the Lamborghini.
That's interesting.
With the angel wear.
They were painted up and no one said anything.
Oh no, the crowd went wild. They loved it. What's not to love?
That's true.
Yeah, but they were pretty much. They had like guys out there. I don't know. Maybe there's some. I mean, as outrageous as Vegas is, or you know what it probably was. It was probably the organization that was hosting the trade show. It was it's a trade group of tobacco people. It's a big organization. They probably had a thing about it.
What do you think about women that smoke cigars? Is that a turn on or a turn off?
Spending as many years as I did in the tobacco industry, that only became a thing like in the last 15 years. I don't like it myself.
No, it's a big turn.
To me, it's kind of diesel.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's just like
it's not a phallic thing for me. That doesn't do anything for me. It actually is like, ooh.
Yeah, it's just like,
not a big fan of it.
And it always seems like the girls that do that, they always go for like the gigantic, like a Churchill, like inside baseball, a big giant cigar is like is a Churchill. Yeah. Like they never do it with like a petite Corona, you know. they always do it with like a Churchill or a double. You know, it's like they're overcompensating or something.
Yes, they are. They are overcompensating. I agree with you 100%. Woman commits adultery, gets stuck having sex with lover after husband uses potion to catch her.
Love potion number 9.
A woman accused of committing adultery was caught after her husband reportedly used a potion to catch her in the act. A magnon or juju was used by the cuckold man in a bid to shame his wife when she went out to meet her lover in a hotel in Kenya. A video captured the humiliated couple still naked and stuck together being paraded through the streets in a desperate bid to seek medical advice.
Stuck together?
Stuck together. The woman tried to hide under a bedsheet. The man, who seemed less shy as the pair were being wheeled along on a wooden cart. The couple had been having sex in a hotel called Who Cares, when the man found that he was unable to separate from his married lover. She was in great pain due to the sudden condition, so they shouted for help. So basically, this guy put some kind of voodoo potion on her, and her hey nanny clamped down on this guy, and he couldn't. It was like a dog, like they couldn't separate.
Wow. Now,
not one of them thought to throw a bucket of water on him?
Well, I'd like to be this guy just so I could tell the story. That's right. I gave it to her so good that she couldn't let go.
I don't think I'd like that.
I mean, it says right there he didn't care.
Yeah, what did he care?
He was less shy as the pair wheeled along on a wooden car. I bet he was standing there like Superman, hands on hips, legs akimbo, all proud, cape flowing in the wind.
Ties the pillowcase around his neck. Fellow hotel guests came to their aid, but the only way to get them to a medical facility was along the street. And the scene quickly attracted a huge gawking crowd, one who filmed it and shared it online.
Because there's always some reckless asshole out there with a smartphone.
Yeah, exactly. Kenyan media speculated that the woman's cuckold husband... I don't understand what cuckold means.
Cuckolded. It's an old English term meaning that if your wife is cheating on you, you are a cuckold, which comes from the term cuckoo, because the cuckoo bird will hatch another bird's eggs.
Really?
So it's like a trick.
Gotcha.
It's an old English term.
Gotcha.
You can read more about cuckolding in the Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer.
Yeah. Our listeners are going to do that. Sure they will.
Hey, I read it, so I figured, what the hell? And I believe it's in the Miller's Tale, to be more...
Well, apparently this dude had a potion designed to catch adulterous wives. Now, if that's true, could you imagine how that would work in the United States? Could you imagine? There would be women stuck to men all over the country.
I think it would be the other way around. It would be like men stuck to women.
Potato.
Yeah, because I think men are more the initiators of that crap than women are. Don't you?
Takes two.
Yeah, it takes two, but...
You don't think that the women... First of all, the woman's married. We don't know about the guy. The guy might have been single.
This is true. Not enough information in the article to divine that.
Right. Here in the United States, they just shoot him. The woman's condition may also have been vaginism.
I've heard of that.
Vaginism. Vaginismus? Sticky vagina.
Vaginismus. An involuntary muscle spasm that can have a variety of causes, including urinary tract or vaginal yeast infection, as well as a variety of psychological effects.
Can't we just call it sticky vagina?
Well, sometimes dogs get stuck together when they hump.
Well, yeah, I understand that. Yes. Well, that's how that works.
Mm-hmm.
The dog gets in there, then the whole thing blows up, and they clamp down, and they can't get apart until he... And then once he does that, they can separate.
Well, sometimes that doesn't even happen.
Well, what happens is he's just...
The female dogs, the raging bitch is running down the road.
Right, because she doesn't want this.
And then, he's still stuck.
Right, but that doesn't mean... That's as soon as he,
No, it's all... He has something to do with her, the JJ clamping down.
Remember the story I told you about the time we took a dog to get raped over in a...
Yeah.
Okay, so I know a little bit about this.
Do you know a little bit about dog raping?
Dog raping. Unfortunately, I do.
Dog raping John here.
Yeah. John's not doing the dog raping. Good gracious. Anyhow, so Also, a variety of psychological triggers. The treatment the couple received was not reported, and they were not named in the Kenya media.
Oh, give it time.
Not like the United States.
Is that the actual picture of them?
Yeah, that's the picture. Remember, see, she's got a towel over her face, and he's like, "Yeah, baby,
Here I am.
Yeah, here I am."
Is he foaming at the mouth, or is that just a weird?
It might be just a lighting.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It was like he has like clown makeup on from the lips down, all over his chin or something.
Let me just tell you this: the people over in Kenya, they don't really have the same kind of cameras that we have around here. Because around here, that thing would be in HD.
Oh yeah.
Look at the arms on that broad.
Yeah, she's pretty beefy.
She's got some guns.
Yeah, the gun show's in town.
Could you imagine? Here's the guys, like, instead of just, I don't know, if you think your wife's cheating, wouldn't you just kind of pack your shit and leave, or throw her out, or?
Yeah, but there's a whole thing to be said for a shame thing, because he has to show honor.
Okay, over there, I'm sure they do.
Well, even here, there's a lot of guys,
Again, I'm not saying you should go out and shoot an adulterous wife. That's not true. Not saying that at all.
Nah, not at all.
Remember, this is...
It's the Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? It's the Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do?
Something like that.
But that would be wrong.
That would be wrong.
I've got the spinning beach ball of death here, waiting for my soundboard to go off, so it just... There we go.
Poor Deuce.
Too much sound effects.
Too much sound effects.
Ignore. Would you like to send a message? Why? They're not going to fix it. Ignore.
That's true.
It's like,
they're not going to do anything.
I love those things.
Would you imagine one day if they called you up and said, "Hey, I hear your soundboard." Really? Yeah,
wow. I didn't know you guys were serious about that.
Well, you sent a report in, didn't you?
I just thought it was something to make you feel good.
When did we put the last podcast out? Was it Thursday night into Friday? It was.
Yeah.
It had been. I was really busy last week, and I had editing, and then the Jimmy, he called me every time I would start to edit. He would call me, and we would have to talk poker or whatever the hell he was up with.
Yeah,
him.
he tied you up for about 4 hours.
Oh my God, it was crazy. So anyhow, I didn't get the show out till late, and I missed that whole bombing Syria thing because I'm down here in the bunker.
Yeah,
in the
you're
BPS
isolated.
Studio. I'm isolated. I don't have any, nothing going on, no TV. I don't know what's going on, and I just got done doing the edit, and I was starting to upload the thing, and I brought everything up, and I guess I pulled up Facebook or Twitter to check something out, and it goes, "Oh, here we go, World War III over Syria." I'm like, what the hell's that about? So then I start seeing what's going on. With that, I got my phone here. The phone went off with that emergency.
Yeah, the Amber Alert or the extreme weather report.
I'm telling you right now, I almost shit myself right here. I was like, what the? I mean, that whole brief moment before that thing says, "This is a test." I mean, your heart is in your mouth. You have no idea what's happening. And I'm not lying. I think this week that goddamn emergency alert system went off like 4 times at night, like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I can't sleep. My mind just keeps going and going and going. So if like I'll put on a podcast or I'll turn on the radio or something and I'll turn it down low and I'm kind of listening to that and it kind of lets me focus on them and I kind of drift off to sleep. That's how I sleep. That son of a bitch alarm thing would go off in the middle of the night.
That's very piercing.
Holy shit. You're sitting there and you're like, is this it? What am I waiting for or whatever? I have no idea. But in these times, you have no idea. And, you start to...
It reminds me of the good old days of the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah.
Because you know what it is now? You and not you.
I've been fighting this my whole life. I've been fighting this whole thing of nuclear war. I've been terrified of nuclear war my whole life.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Because, I know you say that. But like in 1979 was when they took the hostages, okay? Mm-hmm. And, we were all going to go. We were all going to end up being enlisted. They were going to bring the draft back. And we were all going to go to war over in Iran. And then...
Well, before that even happened, you had... there was a lot of stuff going on. And then you had the hostage situation. Russia rolled into Afghanistan.
All that crap.
You had all the terrorism. There was just as... Terrorism's been around forever. It's just now that they've been able to export it to other Western countries. But I remember... through the God bless Ron Reagan administration, it's just like every single day there was something going on just like this. But the problem is a lot of the people that were around that, and we're in our 50s now.
Right.
All right. So this is like, this is how I remember it being. I always remember it being this way. Every day there's some screaming headline in the newspaper that this was it, and Armageddon and blah, 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 blah. And it didn't happen.
Well, yeah, you're right.
So,
You're right.
But now you've got people, You got 2 generations now. They don't remember any of that stuff because once the Berlin Wall came down and the Soviet Union collapsed in '92.
Well, that's because Ron Reagan outspent the Soviet Union back then because we could.
Yeah.
I don't think we can do that
Yeah,
now.
we could still
I don't
do
think
it.
we have the economy to do that right now.
We could
Here's
still do
number
it.
2. We've got this knucklehead as a president now, and he is a fucking knucklehead, just so you know. All right. And he's a narcissistic knucklehead. And then one day he says, okay, well, we're not going to go into Syria and all that. And the next thing you know, he sees pictures of babies being.
You mean they were poisoned with sarin gas?
That's it. Exactly. Yes. And the next thing you know, he sends 61 missiles over to bomb
Tomahawk missiles.
Tomahawk missiles to bomb an airport. And I'm like, well, what the hell? And here's the thing.
That's the way you do it.
Well, do you know where did that gas come from? I'm telling you. And again,
I think it came from Iraq.
I'll tell you, you know what I think happened? Because it doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense for that guy. It makes no sense for that guy from Syria, the president of Syria.
Oh, you've been reading Ron
people.
Paul posts.
No,
right?
I have not. It just doesn't make any sense. The guy had it by the balls. Why would he do something like this?
Did you hear the latest?
They could have bombed that. They could have dropped a bomb on that area and hit their chemical weapons.
Today when I was driving over here.
There's no way anybody knows exactly what happened.
Today when I was driving over here to do the podcast, they announced on the news that they have proof that Russia knew that this was going to happen a week ago. So now is Russia complicit in it? You obviously didn't hear that end of it.
No, I
It's
didn't.
going to unravel. I mean, something's going to happen. What would you do if you were the president?
Honestly, what I would do is I wouldn't do nothing. I would let them.
Children could die.
I would let them guys go over there and just kill each other.
Because this happened in 2013 and Obama drew the red line in the sand and nothing happened.
Again, I understand.
This is how you draw a red line. That's how you do it.
All right, but what I'm saying now.
Because that's all those people understand is strength. And the last 8 years, we didn't display any strength.
Just let them go over there and knock each other out and deal with just mop up what's left. Listen, you see what's going on in Sweden and in England and in Germany and in France with all these Muslims going and with these terrorists. The guy in Sweden took a truck with a bomb in it and was going to head for their embassy or their parliament. Thank you. Was heading for that. And a guy saw this and he pulled his van out there and the guy veered off and went into that building. If not, that thing would have made it to Parliament and it had a bomb. The bomb didn't go off because the guy apparently didn't know how to make a bomb. So that could have been a lot worse than it is. And now, all of a sudden Sweden's like, you know what? That's it. No more open immigration.
Yeah. Well,
meanwhile, the people in this country hate Trump so much. They're like, yeah, we should let him in because that's unfair. Unfair to who? Unfair to what? I'm telling you, everybody's nuts.
Well, that'll all come to a screeching halt now that, thank Christ, Gorsuch got approved as a Supreme Court judge. So
what's that going to change?
Because now there's ludicrous Ninth Court judges that said, oh, you can't ban people from coming here. They stood in the way of that being implemented. Now it'll go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will say, yeah, you can. And that'll be that.
I don't think I want them banned, but I want them vetted.
They were vetted, but they blocked it from being implemented. Well, that's the problem.
It should definitely be implemented.
And here's the problem that these whack jobs on the 9th District Court, the most overturned district court in the country historically forever, is legal rights of American citizens are conferred only on American citizens. They're not conferred on immigrants or people that are just trying to come here as a refugee. They have no rights as we as American citizens do. But that always seems to be lost on hippy-skippy, happy-go-lucky liberals on the 9th District Court.
Well, everybody says that they're hippy-dippy-skippy, but I'll tell you what, these liberals, these Democrats, they'd like a good war, too. They were all happy that Trump went over and did this. I don't know. This whole thing just stinks to high hell. I mean, can't we just go get jobs? Can't we start working? Can't we build this country? We've got all this great technology and everything going on here. All this, we almost have robot pussy, and now they're going to just end up screw up the whole world.
Yeah, you got to fight. You got to have peace through strength. That's Washington said it, and Reagan repeated it.
Can that be the title of this episode, Robo Pussy?
Hey, whatever you want. I'm not doing the artwork for it, though.
Now, we can't use that because, of course, like certain...
yeah, it'll be blocked.
Yeah, they'll block you because you can't use sexually explicit
Toaster
titles.
and Blender Show.
You can say whatever you want.
Toaster and
Blender Show.
It's very visually arresting artwork. Now, I just remember this is how it always was in the 80s up until about 19 Up until George H.W. Bush got out of once Clinton came in, all this shit went away because they didn't do nothing.
Well,
except for George W. Bush going in.
Well, again, you got a new president, and everybody's testing. You know, Korea's
the big issue.
Everybody's got their cock out.
Believe me, Syria is a sideshow. North Korea is the issue.
I hear you. I mean, you know, they just sent people over there
because China likes that.
What?
China likes that North Korea likes to push our buttons, and they like to sit back because.
Well, they said they're going to start sending Chinese soldiers over there because now we just sent a thing. Again, dude.
We'll see.
That's
where the real theater, because that war never ended. A lot of people don't know it.
Right, that's just a ceasefire.
The Korean War is a ceasefire that's been in effect since 1953. We have 38,000 or so troops on the 38th parallel, and we always have. But for some reason, we couldn't keep troops in Iraq to keep the peace. Obama pulled them right out, conveniently forgetting about the troops we have in Germany, Japan, and South Korea.
Well, that's because the South Koreans aren't picking them off like dump rats.
That's why those parts of the world are stables, because we left troops there after World War II and after the Korean War.
I don't know.
Had Obama pulled the troops out.
They had all kinds of troops over there in Iraq. Next thing you know,
he pulled them out.
Yeah, but even when they were there,
he pulled them out. He reduced through reduction.
They were there, and they couldn't do anything.
They had the surge, and they won. That war was won, and asshat pulled the troops out.
You will never win that war over there. There hasn't been a rock in the same goddamn place since men walked upright and lived there.
Before the feckless wonder pulled the troops out, that was stable, it was growing, and the people were happy.
Here's the problem, and we don't learn from our past. I tell you what.
You're right, because he pulled the troops out, unlike we did in Germany, Japan, and South Korea.
If I could bring what's his name?
Saddam Hussein
back, I would bring him back and make him president of Iraq again. He had the damn place stable. And he did the same thing that this guy in Syria is going to do. And what are we going to do?
Then you might as well. All the problems in the Middle East can be laid directly at the feet of one man, and that's Jimmy Carter, because the Shah of Iran was the United States' 800-pound gorilla in the region. That's the only country in this world that we sold F-14 fighter craft to. No other country had that. That was ours and Iran's. That was it. Of course, they didn't have as many of the components that our planes did, because the Shah was our guy to keep peace in that region. And guess what? It worked for 30 years, but then hippy-dippy Jimmy Carter, happy-go-lucky peanut farmer, ooh, and he starts breaking his balls about human rights violations and everything, which he did everything that Saddam Hussein did. And guess what happened? They overthrew the Shah, and then they took our embassy. All this shit dates back to 1979 from President James Earl Carter. That's where you can lay the blame, the modern world at this point, right at his feet. He owns it, lock, stock, and barrel. But now he's old and he builds houses for the homeless, and everyone thinks he's a great guy. You know, in fact, he's probably the only guy that loves Obama, because he was so bad, but after Obama, he can be on Mount Rushmore. That's how good Obama made Carter look.
Well, I'll tell you what, the presidents it seems like we were getting one worse after the other. And I'm telling you right now, I don't care what anybody says, this guy Trump.
75 days in, snap decision, huh? That's it.
I didn't like him the day he announced. Yeah, everybody laughed, and I said, "Don't take this guy."
No, you're still
lightly.
mad that
don't take
what
this
is
guy
Aleppo
lightly.
didn't win.
We would be in much better.
Oh yeah,
we would.
Oh yeah,
we would be in much.
Ron Paul's already acting like an idiot over this.
Ron Paul. What's the other one? The one that's the good guy. The one I like. Rand Paul.
Right.
I like him. You know who I want to run for president in 2020? Ben Shapiro. That's who I want to run.
That would be awesome.
I would like.
Well,
him
why
to
would
run.
he do that?
Yeah, exactly. He's making more money now, but that's what we need. We need somebody like that. Nobody wants to run anymore. It's ridiculous. The whole thing.
Well, the press will destroy you.
We're going to hell in a handbasket. So look, we're a bunch of old men now. You know what happened back in 1979?
What's this we shit?
We. That's right.
Well, that's because history's my thing.
Blender and toaster. We. All right, come on. Let's wrap this up in a nice bow. Want to do some podcast shout-outs?
Yeah, let me get my glasses on.
Got it.
Because I'm so old.
That's right. See, your robot body, we would have like a 2010 vision.
Yeah, but he'd have no dignity.
Dignity. It's overrated. Go ahead.
Clearly not. Okay, podcast shout-outs. 3 is comedy with Jason, Bob, and Mindy.
And Bad Cop with Dave and Jerry.
And Bold and Belligerent with Lauren, Josh, Mike, and you left blank here.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. These guys, I love Bold and Belligerent as a podcast. And I love Lauren, Josh, and Mike. But that asshole Luke.
Wow. Don't hold back, John. What do you really think?
Let me tell you something. This guy. He finally finds the studio after 4 weeks, comes back in, and just starts a bunch of crap. And here's the thing. He's a curmudgeon. That's basically what'd you call him today?
A contrarian?
That's it. That's exactly what he is. And that's my whole thing with him. Well, the thing that bothered me the most was he comes on there, and the first thing he does is he blasts Daniel Ripples from The Toe on the Trigger. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, you just come in and you show up and you come in and you just break everybody's balls, and Lauren and Josh hand you snowballs and you throw them because that's all you can do. And what have you done? You were working selling solar panels, all right? Then you
telemarketing, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
All right. You were the wolf of solar panels. And then the next thing you know, you give that up, and then you're doing, and who knows what's going on. He wouldn't talk about what happened. Was, he's been going for 4 weeks, you get nothing. He's living somewhere. Guaranteed he's living in either his parents' or his grandparents' basement. I'd have no idea. So that being said, you're going to go out there, and you know what? I can understand. Let's say you actually feel that way about Daniel. All right. The thing that bothers me the most is that you don't know how much time and work and effort it takes to put out a podcast. Okay, and you get nothing for it. You spend money on it.
It's a labor of love.
Yeah, it's a labor of love. So to go sit there and just bash a guy, on a podcast, to me,
didn't sit well with you.
No, it did not. He's basically like, the millennial fuck up. Okay, instead of millennial falcon. Okay, he's just like the bitter Asian millennial, or not the Asian millennial. He's just a bitter millennial. Is basically what he is. And the whole fact that that's all he's got, and he thinks he's funny, and he's not funny. He came in and his big thing was they do a game, which is called Out of the Lifeboat. And they pick 4 things and they vote on it, and one gets thrown out of the lifeboat and they shoot it. All right. So what's he do? He comes in, and the first thing he does to bolster his ego is he brings that topic up, the 4 hosts. So who are they going to throw out? And first of all, Josh and Lauren runs the show, and Josh is like the second-hand man. And then you got Luke and Mike. Well, the first thing he does is he just, he did this just to get at Mike. And, of course, that's what happened. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, if it was me, you'd be in the water. We'd be shooting at you like a rat, to be quite honest with you. Listen, you do what you want to do. It could have
just been entertainment.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Theater of the mind.
I say no. Hey, it's a good show. What can I tell you? There was a girl.
I listen all the time.
Okay.
So does John.
I do. I listen. I used to go listen live.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't like his antics. And I don't think he's funny. I think he's an unfunny piece of shit. There you go. I said it. All right.
Line in the sand.
That's right. You want
See, now you're like Donald Trump.
That's right. Here comes some Tomahawk missiles at you.
The Tavern Podcast with Rockstar, BB Byerly, and King Brandon.
Yep. That's I was talking to Rocky this week, and his podcast came out, and it was like low. And I just, how, like, what do you say? Maybe you want to say something, you want to offer help, and good guy. I mean, we were talking, through Facebook Messenger, and he sent me the audio, and then I went and reprocessed it. It sounds a lot better. So really a good show. And now the audio quality is coming up. So check that one out.
Part of the Husher Faced.
Yeah. It's the
network.
Yep. Then we got Horribly Awkward with Sean Fuller.
Also part of the Husher Face.
That's right.
Network. And Now That I'm Older with Shane and Kenny.
Not part of the Hush Your Face Network.
But part of the Potter family.
They are part of the Potter family. Toe on the Trigger with Daniel and guest host of the week. He hasn't really found anybody yet.
I like the way he's doing that.
I do too.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, he had, the last one I listened to, he had Fear Innes on, and it was a really good show. Really enjoyed that one. I enjoyed it when he had Emily, and also when he had Lauren from Bold and Belligerent. He did a great job with it. Ice in the Face with Sarah and Rick.
The Story Behind with Emily Prokop.
Now that one's that's a good show, and you can go back and check it out. But right now she's on baby hiatus.
Yes, sounds like congratulations are in order.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So congratulations to her. The Unwritable Rant with Juliet Miranda. They were in Aruba this week.
Yeah, they're a couple of weeks now in Aruba.
Well, I think it was just 1 week. They were there for like a week.
I don't know, because they played it best of last week.
Well, I'll tell you, they really, I guess on social media, they were putting out a lot of pictures, a lot of videos and stuff like that. They looked like they were having a good time. And
in Aruba? I'm surprised.
And there was one part where Juliet went topless, and they were teasing Dave and Jerry from Bad Cop, Bad Cop. Like the picture was kind of real blurry, so you couldn't really see anything. So I thought that was kind of
fun. It was all like pixelated.
I'll tell you what, those two.
Like Japanese porn.
it was kind of blurry. It was just, let's put it this way. It looked like, it was just blurry. That's all. It wasn't really a picture. Yeah. But those two, they know how to party. They know how to have a good time. I can't wait for the stories from Aruba.
Nah, probably got a year's worth of podcast material just from going to Aruba.
That's right.
Netflix and Swill with Caleb and Dan.
And your buddies from across the pond?
Pull My Finger with Tony and Wazzy.
Wazzy. What was the story you were telling? They were talking about the top.
They have a segment called Would You Rather? And I'm not going to do this story any justice by any means, but it was like, would you rather make love to a person that consisted of the top half of Emma Watson from the Harry Potter films, and she is now Belle in Beauty and the Beast, and the lower half of Hulk Hogan? Or would you rather have the upper half of Hulk Hogan and the lower part of Emma Watson?
Now that is a stickler right there.
So
kind of got to go with
you might want to like tune in and hear, because I will ruin the punchline. These guys are awesome. I enjoyed them a lot. They're a lot of fun.
And then the Nerd a Well podcast with Eric, Sam, and Chris, and they are part of the Hush Your Face Network. And the Horrible Gamers podcast, and I don't know who that is. I haven't listened to that yet because I'm not into games. I'm not a gamer, so I'm not into that. But give them a listen if you're into games and stuff like that.
Everyone has a podcast with Adam and Byron.
And the Epic Film Guys. Check them out. So they are our podcast shout-outs for this week.
But you forgot one.
Who?
The WTF is Success with Jason Galbraith.
Yes. Listen to that. That was this last episode. He didn't have a guest on. He kind of was pondering about what he's going to do. And it was a really good episode. And
very introspective.
Yeah. See, the thing with Jason, I got to tell you, is I understand where he's at, because I always wanted to do stand-up from when I was 17 or 18. Always wanted to do stand-up. But I never had the balls to get up on stage.
Now you do, because you're doing a splashdown in the toilet.
I have the balls, but now I'm too old to stand up on stage. And I'm not as quick as I was. As you get older, you kind of, with me, I notice even when I do the editing of the podcast, like something, like I want to say something and then something totally different comes out of my mouth. Because I'm like, what is that? What did I just say? So I don't know if it's, passed me by, but like Jason's, he tried it and he just was, I guess it wasn't his cup of tea, but he doesn't want to fail at it. He's going to go back and give it a shot.
Yeah,
and I got to tell you, I really do think that he has a very good shot at being a good stand-up comedian. I do feel that way. I mean, you got to go and pay. And listen, I can't imagine getting up on that stage.
Yeah, Bob's getting quite a few gigs out there. He's,
I can't imagine going up there and bombing. That's one of the reasons why I never did stand up.
Well, that's where you learn. That's the crucible of success. Is you have to fail to succeed in the end.
I used to sneak over to Philadelphia
when
I would have like 5 or 10 minutes of material memorized, and I would sneak over to open mic night, and I would watch these guys get up. And dude, they would have some like atrocious guys get up there, and they would bomb. And then you're like, okay. And then they would have some guys that were good guys that would get up there, and they weren't getting any kind of
feedback.
They weren't getting any feedback. Well, no, it's Wednesday night. There's all comics there. They're just doing their, they're just working out. They're just working the material up on stage, and they're not really.
Do you think that's what shook you?
It shook me, and I couldn't get up on stage. And I would just love to have been able to have the balls to get up there and try.
You needed tequila.
Yeah, I did. I did. I loved it so much that I was afraid to fail at it. And guess what? I failed at it because I never did it. So hats off to Jason, and I wish him the success. And I kind of gave him an idea. I don't know if he's going to run with it or not, and I don't want to spoil it if he does. But there's a really good podcast brewing in all of this, and I hope he does it, because it would be fascinating. It would be really cool.
I'm just always impressed with the amount of show prep that he clearly does for the Three's Comedy podcast, unlike us who.
Well, what are you saying?
Yeah. Well, he's just it's like I said, he never rests. Like, he has all those jingles that he writes, and
that's true
for the show, and he thinks about every aspect of it. Yeah, so I find that very impressive.
And he could sing, so he could do the.
That's it. That opens up a whole nother aspect, because not only is he laser focused on what he's doing, but he's got
talent to do
musical talent to do that. I'm just
if I sang,
I like music, but I can't carry a tune in a bag. So, and neither can you. Joe might be able to do it better than me. Joe was in a band, so Joe was a drummer, just like Jason's a drummer.
Right. So anyhow, We've only done 45 episodes. We're
47, actually.
Okay, 47.
We did 2 best ofs that aren't really numbered.
Okay, so we did 40. Well, we didn't really do them. I just cut up some of our best stuff.
No, we did. They were just bonus episodes.
But it was the same material.
No, the bonus episode that we did.
But they were numbered, though.
Bonus episode, volume 1.
Okay. What do I know?
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Okay. Because I'm trying to end this episode for the 4th.
Will you shut the...
Will you shut the fuck up so I can end this episode? And if you're, for some godforsaken reason, still listening right now, we would love it if you would go over and follow us on the Twitter. We're also on Instagram and on Facebook. And you can always find out how to follow us by going to brandxpodcast.com/contact. And that would help us out. And let us know what you think. And listen, you old guys, start subscribing to this show instead of watching us on Facebook. All right, you've had
lazy
enough?
bastards.
You lazy bastards. All right, you had enough?
Yeah.
All right. Talk to you next week.
See you later.
You know, when I do record other podcasts where I have them come in and they come on the internet and I'm like the producer, so I sit there and record and I put, sound drops and stuff like that. And I do the She podcast. And the one host, Elsie, she's always, like, every time I drop her voice in, she goes, ooh, like I always scare her. Like if she knows something, she'll do like this.
That is a talent, I have to say.
So, whoo, I always scare her. But she did one this week that she got mad at something. She did a pet peeve, and she gave me this little gem.
It drives me bananas.
Thanks, Elsie.
You know what makes that? Because you could hear that she's grinding her molars together. She said that. Play it again.
Drives me bananas.
That's awesome.
A video captured the
humiliated.
All right, let me try that again. A video. Stop that, will you? Damn you. These will be at the end. Fellow hotel guests came to their aid, but the only way they could get them. Wait a minute. Fellow hotel guests came. Damn you, John. Don't worry. This pain is mine because I have to edit all this crap out. Fellow hotel guests came to their aid, but the only way they could get them to the medical facility. Didn't I just read this? Along the street was the fellow hotel guests came to their aid, but the only way to get them to the medical. Stop it, you. God damn you. Okay. Let me try that again. Fellow guests came. Now I got the giggles. At Brand X Podcast, and go to facebook.com/Brand X Podcast. Or if you really want to, just go to Brand X Pod. Now you put that music there. Now I can't put the music up underneath it. Stop that. Now I got to start the whole thing over. Cut that out. God.
Throw a curveball at you.
Where was I?
If you enjoyed this podcast.
Oh, thank you. Will you shut the fuck up so I can end the recording?